Hello everybody and a very warm welcome to another Everton show. This week we'll be reflecting on a night of drama against Crystal Palace at Goodison Park on Monday when the opposition man of the match was the woodwork. And we'll be looking ahead to the long trip to Norfolk this weekend to take on Norwich City. Ian Snowden is alongside me this week, I'm happy to say. Snods, we did enough to beat Crystal Palace 2 or 3 times over.
Thoroughly bit enjoyable game, Daz. Really was. I thought we played particularly well. As you just mentioned, the woodwork saved them on numerous occasions. But overall, I think for the neutral, fantastic game to watch, but we're not neutral. We're Blues through and through, and we were unlucky.
More positives than negatives to take from that game, though, that's for sure. Plenty to bring you then on this week's show, as always, including contributions from this lot.
We were very unfortunate not to take previous chances, hitting the post in a ball that it could have gone in or out, the crossbar. Fantastic save from Hennessy and Tom Cleverley's shot.
I can assure you, sat on that bench with just the one sub them days, and seeing someone go down, I was thinking, get up.
I try to help my teammates out in the best way that I can, and scoring goals. And well, we are playing very good football at the moment as well.
I tell Rom always, go to the first post, because when I put the cross in defense and the keeper in the middle, it's perfect for him.
Snod, you and I were in the commentary position at Goodison Park on Monday night, and I've lost count of the amount of times we jumped up and shouted goal, only for it not to go in.
Yeah, numerous occasions, especially Rom's first effort that came off the inside of the post. We were both up then. Then when Rom hit in the crossbar, but the main one when we were all up was Tom Cleverley's volley. What a volley and what a save from Hennessy. Absolutely fabulous save. Yeah, they did ride the luck, Crystal Palace, but they're a good side as well. Tim Howard had to make a couple of important saves as well, but as you say, overall it was a point, but I just feel it was 2 points dropped because I thought we dominated Crystal Palace.
More positives though, as I say.
Without a doubt. Usually you're looking for 2 or 3 who's going to be involved in your man of the match at the end of the game. I thought on Monday night we had probably 5 or 6 that you could have picked out as potential man of the matches.
On another night, we batter Crystal Palace, don't we, with a performance like that? And not many teams will dominate Crystal Palace in the manner that Everton did on Monday night. The Eagles really did ride their luck at times, as Snods has just said. And after the game, Roberto Martinez gave us his assessment of a contest that his players thoroughly deserved to win.
It's a game that you can make a very clear assessment. First of all, we played against a really strong team. In terms of teams playing away from home, Crystal Palace is one of the best in terms of creating a lot of threat. Maybe they're not good on the eye, but very, very effective. They get the ball forward really quickly. They got power, pace. They get into your box with a lot of intensity. And I thought we defended extremely well up to the goal. I thought we were very unfortunate not to take previous chances. Hitting the post in a ball that it could have gone in or out, the crossbar. Fantastic save from Hennessy and Tom Cleverley's shot. I thought we defended throughout really, really well up to the goal that we conceded. And sometimes it happens. What I really, really enjoyed is once we conceded the goal, which I think we need to be better in that respect, is we never gave up. And remember that Crystal Palace never thrown a goal lead before, so we never stopped looking for that equaliser, and even from that point on we tried to go all the way for the win. Even at that point in the last 5-6 minutes they opened the game up, and clearly Crystal Palace did the same, and it was a really open game. But the disappointment of the dropping the 2 points probably needs to be overshadowed by the attitude and the way that we fought until the end.
7 goals in 6 games for Rom now. You must feel as if he's going to score every time he goes out on the pitch at the moment.
I think as a team we feel in that manner. I think we feel that we can get good service to the forward players, and Gerard Deulofeu is enjoying his football. Romelu is got a really strong relationship with Gerard, and Aruna Kone always opens good spaces. Ross Barkley will never look away to get on the ball and give us good opportunities, and that's a real strength of our side, creating chances and scoring goals. And even in hard games like today, that nothing goes your way, and that frustration could creep in. We never stop from looking that opportunity to score goals, and that's a very good attribute of ours, and we need to carry on looking to protect that and get better in other areas.
As you've said, Snods, it was another good performance against Crystal Palace, but are you a little bit concerned maybe that we need to start turning these draws into wins?
I think in fairness, the draw against West Ham was a fair result. I thought neither team really deserved to win. I thought a point was a fair result. Then you're so unlucky against Bournemouth. You're cruising at 2-0. All right, Bournemouth came back into the game, but then to score the goal when we did, Daz, you're thinking you've got to win the game from there. Unfortunately, we didn't. And then against Crystal Palace, I thought the performance was excellent. So, all right, we've only got a point in the last 3 games, but I'm not disappointed really, because I still think we're playing really, really well.
And we could easily be 6th in the Premier League, just on the cusp of the European places.
Yeah, we could, and deservedly so as well. We're playing some good football. We're playing some attacking football. The fans are enjoying it, or seem to be enjoying it at the minute, so long may it continue.
Alan Pardew thought a draw was a fair result.
He would do as the manager of Crystal Palace, but not for me. We should have won that game.
Well, let's not forget that despite dominating that Palace game for long periods, Everton were still grateful for a couple of excellent saves from Tim Howard at crucial points during the night. The American keeper agreed with us. It was a performance from the boys in blue that certainly merited more than just a single point. Here's Tim's take on the feeling in the dressing room after the game.
It's mixed, really. You know, we controlled the game. We played so well, hit the crossbar on the post, and 3 or 4 times, and had a few really good saves from Hennessy. So we feel a little bit deflated that we didn't take all three points, but we showed some resilience in coming back and not letting their goal kind of knock us. And in the end, we looked like we were pushing to win it.
When you hit the post or the crossbar 3 times and their keeper's in great form, do you just put that down to bad luck and get on with it?
It is bad luck, and you're just hoping that one's going to go in, that you keep pounding and keep knocking on the door, that one will go in.
How difficult is it when obviously we've got the most of the possession, but you've got to step in and make those saves when they hit on the counter?
Well, that's what we're paid to do as a back four and goalkeeper. Try and make sure we stay organised. We know we're going to dominate possession in so many games. It's the way the manager sets us up to play, and it's up to us to be kind of on our toes, talking, making sure everyone's alive to the danger.
And even with 15 minutes to go and a goal down, was there still a confidence that we'd create the chance to get that goal?
Yeah, I thought, as you mentioned before, that feeling of unluckiness. You're hoping that it gets turned around and that one moment will go in. So even then, late on, we're hoping that we would create one more chance.
A word for Rom, 100 appearances, 50 goals, it's a decent ratio.
It's a fantastic ratio. I mean, you'd be hard-pressed to better that. It's brilliant. It's good that he's in the form he's in for us, not just this year, but over the course of, last season and in training. He works his tail off to try and better himself, and he enjoys scoring goals. It's that youthful exuberance that we love about him, and there's many more to come, I'm sure of that.
Well, both Snods and I are in and around the tunnel area after games at Goodison Park, and when there's a heavy media presence, it can be quite chaotic. Organised chaos, though, I hasten to add. And amidst it all, one of my tasks is to take the man of the match from the home dressing room into a couple of corporate lounges to collect his prize. After the Palace game, that man of the match was Tom Cleverley.
The lads have got it in there. We knew they were a counter-attack team, and they just did us with one set piece, but apart from that, we thoroughly dominated the game from start to finish. I thought just wasn't our night in the inside of the woodwork 3 times. Keepers made a couple of great saves, and it was just one of them nights for us.
Hand on heart, when you've connected with that shot from the edge of the box perfectly, do you think to yourself, that's in all the way?
I knew it was heading there. Yeah, I couldn't have hit it much better, and it's a shame he's 6'6" and he's used all of it to get there. So fair play to him. It was a good save, and but still disappointed that we couldn't get the 3 points.
Big Ron was a handful all night, wasn't he? As you say, he's at the post, he's at the bar, he's scored one.
Yeah, I mean he's on great form, and he's a pleasure to play with at the minute. And every time he gets the ball, we feel like he's going to score. So he's massive for us, and really enjoy playing with him.
As I say, it is only a point, but the lads must take a lot of confidence from that because it was an excellent display.
Yeah, I mean I don't think I've enjoyed playing in a draw as much as that. To dominate a game like that, the fans were brilliant all night, and it was really enjoyable to play in. Some of the football we were playing in, I'm sure we'll wake up tomorrow and look and be disappointed we're not sitting there in the top 6, but like you said, there's a lot of positives to be had from tonight.
Like you say, Snods, it was your choice of man of the match. It was a difficult one on the night, but I think you chose the right one, Tom Cleverley.
Yeah, I would like to think I did. It was tough for him to come in. James McCarthy's playing exceptionally well this season. Gareth Barry is. So it's hard for him to get in that central midfield role where he wants to play. He's tended to play out wider in the games that he did play before his injury. But he came in there and I thought he did really well. I thought his energy levels were really good. Never wasted any balls. Kept possession and momentum going. And then he had a great strike on goal that would have been a wonder goal. So, yeah, I thought Tom deservedly got the man of the match.
He's playing really well, and I'm sure there's more to come, but I doubt he'll strike a ball as beautifully as that and not score.
No, when it left his foot, I bet I thought, yes, here I go, I'll go running to the Gladys Street end. But what a save it was. And, yeah, it's when you hit one so sweet like that, not to go in, it's a bit of a downer.
He was very upset afterwards, that's for sure. Could have been the goal of the season contender. And that's it for part one of this week's Everton show. Please rejoin us in a couple of minutes for part two, when we'll hear from Ryan Ledson and we'll review a splendid win for the under-21s against Liverpool. Welcome back to the Everton show, and I'm sure most of you watching this week will regularly check the Sunday papers to see how our youngsters have done who are out on loan. Roberto was very keen indeed to allow his young players to experience league football, and that's why Big Joe Royle was brought in to oversee the whole process. One young man currently enjoying a loan stint away from Everton is Ryan Ledson, who brought us up to date on life at Cambridge United when we caught up with him last week.
I'm loving it, to be honest. It's proper football. It's real life, you know. The lads are playing for the bonuses and it's looking to climb a table. It's people's lives that you're on the line for, and it's a good experience for me.
You've played 4 games so far. The first 2 matches, you picked up the man of the match award, I believe.
Yeah, the Accrington game was the first game at home and picked up man of the match there. Unfortunately, we got beat 3-2, but we played well, and then the following Tuesday, then we played Morecambe away, and picked it up again, which is we done well in that game. Though we won 4-2, and then we got back-to-back wins. And then we played Notts County and beat them, so we're doing well in the league.
And of course, you're playing for a manager, Sean Derry, who was a former central midfielder in his playing days. That must suit you. Yeah,
it does. He's always talking to me every day, you know, ringing me after game, telling me what I've done well, what I can improve on. And he's been a massive help to me so far, and I love working with him, and so hopefully that can bring me better to when I come back here. Then I can pick up the likes of him. He's played over 600 league games, and he's a real big help.
Is he a real players manager?
He is, yeah. He's tough on us. You know, it's a tough training session. You know, when you're on the training pitch, you're working hard, like, and then he's just a dead down to earth guy when you're off the pitch with him.
You touched upon it a couple of questions ago. How are you enjoying playing competitive football, people's livelihood? You've got fans coming watching, you're really looking forward to it every week. You know, Cambridge United enthusiasts, it means everything to them.
It does, you know, you're getting 5,000 there a game at the Abbey Stadium, which is Cambridge's ground, and the fans are paying money to come and watch us, so you've got to put on a show for them, you've got to impress them, so that's the bit I'm really loving.
Have the fans taken to you then?
I think they have, yeah. I think they like me so far, you know, giving me man of the match 2 games on the run. I'm loving them, you know, the singing the songs and all that, so it's brilliant.
It's Ryan Ledson there, clearly enjoying his loan spell at Cambridge United, and they've got to enjoy it, they've got to embrace it, because it's a change of culture for them, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a fantastic opportunity for them. They've got Joe Royle there to guide them through which club they're going to go to, which club will sort the style of football. And Ryan's gone to Cambridge. He's got Sean Derry as his manager, who's vastly experienced, got loads of league games under his belt. So I'm sure he's going to learn from this experience. He's already said that he got man of the match in the first 2 games, so that's brilliant for him. And when they come back from these loan periods, the bigger men, the men. The boy, they go away as boys, but they come back after playing league football as men, and it'll be great for Ryan and the other lads that are out on loan to come back to Goodison once the loan periods are up.
These young boys, these young Everton players who go out on loan, will they be targeted by some experienced League One and League Two and then sometimes conference players?
Well, yeah, it is tough. There's no question about it, playing at that level. But that's what you're in it for. It's tougher playing in Everton's first team than probably in Cambridge's first team. And no disrespect to that. So they've got to learn the game quickly if they're going to succeed at Everton Football Club.
With all due respect, the points at that level are more important than the points at under-21 level.
Without a doubt. Of course they are. It's great getting your playing experience at under-21 level and playing against some top players, but you learn your football playing against seasoned pros.
Good luck to Ryan Ledson down at Cambridge United. Well, as a player himself, David Unsworth liked nothing better than to put one over on our city rivals in the white-hot atmosphere of a Merseyside derby. As Snods knows, Unsy will be right in the thick of it. So he will have been a delighted coach last week when he oversaw a tremendous 3-1 victory away to Liverpool in the Under-21 Premier League.
After riding out an early storm, Everton struck first in their mini-derby meeting with Liverpool. Anthony Evans connecting with Conor McElhaney's cross to steer the Blues ahead on 27 minutes. Having seen a chance deflected wide just moments earlier, the 17-year-old made no mistake this time around. The Blues had to wait until just before the break to double their advantage, but did just that as Callum Connolly headed in from a corner, with McElhaney again the provider. This was a far cry from August's 3-3 draw when David Unsworth's men had to battle back from 3 goals down. But Liverpool did make it tricky, the Reds opening up an otherwise resolute Blues defence on 65 minutes for Harry Wilson to smash past Matthias Schuelt. The comeback lasted just 3 minutes. Good work from Tom Davies saw a chance open up for the fit again Kieran Dowell, and the midfielder showed neat footwork before firing in to complete the scoring. Bragging rights secured, a bundle ensued. The win moved the Blues up to 5th in the Barclays Under-21 Premier League table.
We can watch any win in the derby, can't we, Snods?
Certainly can. I tell you what, I seen Unsy after the game on Monday night, or before the game, sorry, and I said congratulations on the win, and he gave me a massive hug as though it were a proper first-team game. And it does, when you play Liverpool, no matter what level, what age, you always want to beat the Merseyside rivals, and it was fantastic. See the boys score the goals and then celebrate as they did. It means a lot to him to win a derby game.
It's as I said before that piece of film, when he was a player, Merseyside derby, pre-match, you look around, you want to see the David Unsworths in there, don't you?
Yeah, his nickname was the Rhino, and certainly before derby games, he was like a crazed rhino. He really was. He loved them. He was passionate. He's passionate about his club, Everton, and he'll be instilling that into his young players. Wear that badge with pride, and that's how he used to play.
Nice to see Kieran Dowell back amongst the goals as well.
Great to see him back on the pitch. Took his goal lovely there. There were some good goals. First goal were a nice goal. So we've got a lot to look forward to out of them young lads.
When you were last on the show, Snods, you talked about Callum Connolly and how much you liked him. He scored against Liverpool. He also scored earlier this week when the under-21s drew at Reading.
No, he is. I've watched him several times. There's some quality players in there, and I think Dave's got a good special unit of players there to work with. I'm sure he's enjoying it, but the players are saying they're enjoying working with David as well.
Unsy's certainly enjoying it, that's for sure. You can tell by the smile he wears on his face every single day. Well, earlier this year, a little boy called Finn McEwen was a very special guest at Finch Farm. He was 7 years old at the time, and he came down to meet Roberto and the players. Finn needed to find a bone marrow match to keep him alive, and we, of course, were delighted to be able to publicise his plight. Thankfully, a successful donor was found, and we recently caught up with Finn's parents, Carol and Neil, to see how he was progressing.
He's doing really well. He's made really good progress since his transplant. I think at one stage he held the record for getting out of hospital, out of Manchester. He was out in 5 weeks. He's had some setbacks since then, so it's a bit of a rocky road after transplant. It's a long recovery process, but yeah, he's doing well generally.
Obviously you're here at Goodison Park today, a family outing, and you've met someone else in the same predicament as well, haven't you?
That's right, yeah. We've been in touch recently with the family of Kieran Fairclough, who's a local boy who also needs a transplant. He has a different condition to Finn. He has what's called diamond black fan anemia. I think he's had it since birth, or he's pretty young. But the same treatment, he needs a bone marrow transplant to have any chance of a cure. And his sister wasn't a match, so kind of very similar situation to the one we found ourselves in with Finn.
Again, yeah, we're in a rush to try and get a match for that little young boy, isn't he? He's 9 or 10, isn't he?
Yeah.
So he's of Finn's age and stuff like that. But all we want is people to register, as many people as possible. Let's get it out there, keep going. There's no end to it. If we can just encourage as many people as possible to go on the stem cell, sign up for the register with either Anthony Nolan or delete blood cancer, either one of them. So.
And obviously, it only takes one person to get that match as well, doesn't it?
That's right, yeah. We none of us were a match. Finn's siblings and his mum and me and his mum and me and his dad weren't a match. So you're just looking then to strangers and the kindness of strangers who've signed up. It's just a simple mouth swab for people who want to join the register, and anybody then can be a match for so many people out there, children and adults alike, who might need that transplant to have a chance to live.
And just how special was that moment when you found out there was a match out there?
It just literally lifts you right. You feel like you're floating on the ground.
Yeah.
From where we were, we had no hope whatsoever until Everton got involved, and then we run the campaigns. I mean, the legacy of it now is there's 24,000 people registered through Finn's campaign. And we've the guy from Dilly Blood Cancer, Joe, he's been in touch to say other people have been matches and stuff like that. So it's just been amazing.
You mentioned Everton's support there, but the whole city has got right behind you, haven't they?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the Echo ran, a number of articles, and Radio City. There's too many really to mention, but yeah, the whole city did. There was lots of different employers and employees who got involved, and contacted their employers and asked could they hold a donor drive. The boys' school, English Martyrs, allowed us to run a donor drive. So yeah, the support was amazing, right the way through. AM, when we found there was a match, it was amazing, because until you get that match, you just don't know what's going to happen, and you can do lots of things, but until you find that match, you just don't know what the future's going to hold. So
what a lovely story. Again, that is Snods. I've met Neil and Carol a couple of times, and they're lovely, lovely people, and it shows once again you can't underestimate the power of football in getting an important message out into the community.
Certainly not, and I met him as well at Pitchside, and great family, absolutely fantastic, absolutely delighted for Finn. But you're right, the football club, the badge, it just gets people noticed, it gets people involved, and it's fantastic news for young Finn. But being an ambassador at the club with Graham Stewart and Graham Sharp does, we go on hospital visits regular, and I tell you what, as soon as we walk in with his coats on, his tracksuits on, the smiles of them kids, it's just an highlight for us, not only for them. It's fantastic to see a smile back on people's faces when they need it the most.
It's so easy for us to make a bit of a difference, isn't it? To make a big difference, in fact. And by the way, you can very, very easily put yourself in a position to be able to help people like little Finn McEwen. You could be a stem cell match for someone who desperately needs it. Simply visit deletebloodcancer.org.uk. deletebloodcancer.org.uk. You can make a difference. You've seen it on that piece of film. Right, that's it for part 2. Coming up after this short break is our big interview, and this week we speak to a real football character. I guarantee you'll enjoy listening to Eamon O'Keefe. Welcome back to part 3 of this week's Everton show. It's time now to sit back and enjoy our big interview. Now, back in 1979, Everton manager Gordon Lee dipped into the world of non-league football to sign a striker called Eamon O'Keefe from Northern Premier League outfit Mossley. It was a move for O'Keefe that went well beyond his wildest dreams, and he was back at Goodison Park recently to tell the Everton show all about it.
I was very lucky. Brian Kidd lived near me, and I'd known Brian from when I was at Man United as a kid. He was just building up then, so he was great. We managed to get in touch, and he said, come on, I'll pick you up and we'll come down. So that breaks it down a little bit, But the hardest thing for me was getting in the changing rooms with Bob Latchford, Colin Todd, these kind of players, Brian Kidd, George Wood, Andy King, who ripped the make out of everyone, no matter where he come, ended up with no underpants on and everything, But what a great bunch of lads.
Decent side that, Eamon, wasn't it?
Well, when I joined, they'd come second, but Dave Thomas, for me, is the best, still is probably the best crosser of the ball I've ever seen. And amazed to me, I don't know if anyone ever knows that, he only wore rubbers.
Yeah.
And the pitches weren't like today. They were black, you know. But
and no shin pads.
Yeah, no shin pads and rubber boots, and yet he could cross a ball better than anybody I've seen. Yeah, I was in. If I'm honest, I'd like to have. It must have been nice to have gone to non-league to say third or second division or something, and done a little bit then and then joined, because you'd have felt. But I think the jump was bad for me. You know, I was just been speaking to Gordon Lane, and it made me sub at Anfield for my first thing, and of all my life, like any kid watching any of this, it'd be saying, I want to be a footballer, I want to be a footballer. I can assure you, sat on that bench with just the one sub them days, and seeing someone go down, I was thinking, get up. I just didn't want to get on, you know, I thought I've spent all my life wanting to be a professional footballer. I'm at Anfield, there's 60-odd thousand people, it's a madhouse, and I don't want to go on, you know, I'm thinking, I'll back pass, I'll do something wrong, you know, I know I will. And it's funny because when I come off in the changing rooms after, and I remember saying to Mark Higgins in the bath, it's a nightmare, I didn't get on. And he went, never mind, son, I'm sure you will shortly. You know, I was thinking, thank God for that. Like,
it clearly was a massive step, but for younger viewers, Mossley at the time were the best non-league team in the country and were better than most fourth division sides. Would that be fair to say?
Oh yeah, I think in the FA Cup draw, if a third or fourth division side, as it was then, would have drawn us, they would have felt, you know, they wouldn't have fancied us. And the Altrinchams of this world, who were beating everybody, we knocked 4 up them at their place and 5 at ours. I mean, it was one of them clicks that we had. There was a front man, we had Davy Moore, and how he missed not playing. I mean, I could judge. I can be a judge now because I've played in all the divisions. He was ice cool in front of the goal, scored 49 goals or something. But his finishing was, if you give him 3 seconds, he used 2.5. You know, he didn't have a panic in him. And I'm amazed that he didn't, but that's the way. He also liked a few beers, so he probably
there
could.
You go, there's your answer.
He probably wouldn't have turned up.
What were the highlights of your Everton career, Eamon?
Well, obviously, being able to play with some of the players that you'd only seen on the television was amazing. You had to get over that hurdle first. That I'm playing in the five-a-side with them. I almost felt as though I shouldn't be on the pitch, you know. So when I got it was nice to be picked for the Republic of Ireland for my father before he died. But some of the, I mean, everyone when I come to Goodison, they all say, do you remember the Southampton goal, you know, because it was a big night, and it was Kevin Keegan, and we'd drawn down at Southampton, which I thought, it's a shame about that, because we played really well down there, and I think we were thinking we might have let them off the hook here, because not only had they been unbeaten at Southampton all year, I think they'd not failed to score, you know. And we got a 0-0 and brought them back here. And I remember we got a plane there. I mean, with Mossley, we were like, I'll meet you on the corner and someone will drop you off and all that, you know. And we were flying down. We were back here. We were back here before, you know, like 6:30 or something, daft. So that was all brilliant for me, you know.
We should have beaten Manchester City as well, shouldn't we, in the quarters?
Well, Matt, that's what I'm from Manchester, and I was born up as Man United. So City was a little bit of a vengeance thing for me, because, you know, all my pals like. And it was the biggest disappointment, because I'd scored that goal, and then I got this flu, and funny enough, I'm just speaking to Jim McGregor, and he was our physio. And it just took my legs away, you know, them ones where you go up the stairs and you can't. And I had to stay at home and out of the way of the other lads, obviously, as well. So I missed. I played in the first leg here, which we should have won. Yeah. And it's dead easy to say you should have won, but in fairness, we were a good side, but we never killed them off.
Did you have any appreciation of what was to follow at Everton Football Club when Howard came in? Because while you were there, young players like Kevin Ratcliffe and Sharpie and Gary Stevens, they were still babies, weren't they?
Yeah. Steve McMahon, the Mark Ward, who turned out to be a great player. I remember Howard, when he first took over, we played at Halifax. I think it was before we went to Japan on tour. I just thought I'd throw that in because, you know, non-league, you never went anywhere. Before we went, and he said to us, we were watching at Halifax, watching a game, and he said to me, "Howard, if we give him a free?" But and I'm thinking to myself, well, it's you done it, not me. But I think it had already been done by Gordon, and they didn't rock about. They just left it where it was, because he turned out to be a good lad. But yeah, they were all coming through at the time. Kevin Radcliffe. What was he? I'm just trying to think. So I remember Neville Southall coming from Bury, and we only knocked the ball against him a few times, and we thought. I remember Brian Kidd said to me, "This lad's a bit good. He hated everyone who beat him." And I remember running around back at Belfield because he was chasing us because I'd chipped him. He was running around, the trees. You had to run in and out of the trees to get away from him. It? Oh, he hated everybody. And he was a dead man. Then he'd say, "Can I have a lift home back to bed?" And he'd say, "Get your bike." He was just trying to kill me.
From speaking to you, Eamon, it still seems now, even all these years later, that your story is a little bit surreal still.
Yeah. I come here and after when people say to you, "Oh, I mean, he's John Bailey in there," a great laugh. I mean, he's such a character, I remember we did a run in Japan because we were bored from a taxi, and he ran the wrong way into a wall. He had to come back past him. So we're all in behind the corner, and he said, he went, "Yeah, give the fella the money," and then he ran and come up to us and went, "Did he get away? Did he get away?" We went, "You've just watched your pay." Yeah. We just have to have a laugh about that in there now.
Great to see Gordon Lee again, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Kenny was another one, really, the difference, and it's nice to be able to do contrasts now, because I had Howard Wilkinson at Mosley, and that's probably who made this team, who made Mosley's team very good, because he was very thorough, very organised, and we had some good players, but we probably weren't as organised as he wanted us to be, so he brought that to it, and of course, when you do that with a good set of players and you get the organisation in the corners and the free kicks and everything going that he specialised in, that's where we started looking good. And I have a lot to thank him, really, because that side was being watched then, because clearly beating Altrincham of that 5-1 and stuff like that, there had to be a reason why these were doing that, and there was some good players.
Still keep an eye out for Everton's results?
Always. It's like a habit of I'd been to Blackpool and things. It's almost like a back page and then go down the thing, and I've just seen Sharpie in there now. I've had some good laughs with him as well.
There's another lovely story, Snod, from non-league Mosley to First Division top flight Everton.
Fantastic. I met Eamon that day at the former players' dinner. I introduced myself to him, and he seems a character. He seems one of them in the dressing room you'd like to have in your dressing room. But what a rise from Mosley to Everton. Fantastic. And that were me in a way as well. Even though I'd come from Leeds United, I looked in that dressing room when I first signed and seen all the great players, Reedys, Trevor Stephen, Gary Stevens, Ratters and all that. And I was still in awe then.
I mentioned
Sharpie. And so I were in awe then. So imagine a lad coming from non-league football straight into that dressing room to see the likes of Bob Blatchford, etc. It must have been a nerve-wracking experience for him.
Non-league football in those days was fantastic, though, wasn't it? It wasn't far short of league standard, and you knew that by teams like Altrincham and Northwich Victoria and Blythe Spartans, who regularly beat league sides in the FA Cup.
They did, and I remember playing in early rounds of FA Cup football for Doncaster, and we drew Altrincham away. Thankfully, we beat them that day, but you didn't want to draw one of them teams that you've just mentioned, because they've got great success rate as non-league clubs are beating league clubs in FA Cup ties. So non-league football in them days were really, really tough. Don't think it's as tough now, but I go and watch Southport quite regular, and Tranmere now, and so I think there's some good standards, some good players at that level.
I'm sure Eamon O'Keefe is not the only player to have been chased around Belfield by Neville Southall, by the way.
No, I remember one that I tell in a few after dinners that I do, that Mark Ward, I guided him to, I was goading him to chip Nev, and he didn't know why, and when he chipped him, he set off running. Nev were after him for 10 minutes, I tell you, it was hilarious, and when he did, he beat Wardy up.
You say you met Eamon at the Former Players Foundation Christmas lunch. What a lovely occasion that is as well. Terrific to see players from the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s.
I've got to admit, I went round collecting autographs. I think it was great on the menu that were provided at Goodison. It was a lovely meal. The wine were flowing. It was great, good entertainment. And I went round to all the old players and got all the signatures. And I think it's fantastic that you can do that, and players are still remembered. And Yeah, I've got quite a collection of former players' signatures on my menu that day.
Terrific to see Gordon Lee, wasn't it?
Oh, brilliant! Absolutely fantastic, and just to see all the players. I was sat with Jimmy Harris, and I tell you what, it's the first time I've really met him. What a character he is, by the way. He took over our table really, and yeah, I found him an interesting character.
Very quickly, Snods, what do you make of the FA Cup draw?
Yeah, it's an home tie. It's one we're expected to win. If it's White Oak, I hope it don't go to a replay because it's a fair way down there, by the way.
It shouldn't go to a replay,
It
should it
will
really?
not go to a replay. Hopefully we'll do the business, whether it's Dagenham or White Oak.
That's what the FA Cup's all about, though, isn't it?
It is.
Especially the third round. Right, we're going to take a short break now, and when we come back, we'll start to look ahead to the weekend and the 516 miles round trip from Goodison to Carrow Road. Welcome back to the fourth and final part of this week's programme. Well, one of the most popular figures down at Finch Farm, and there are many I can tell you, is first team coach Dennis Lawrence. Big Dennis played for Trinidad and Tobago in the 2006 World Cup, and he marked Wayne Rooney on the night that the then 16-year-old scored his first ever senior goal against Wrexham. Dennis has been looking ahead to Everton's next Premier League challenge against Norwich City on Saturday.
Obviously, Norwich is always a very difficult place to go. There'll always be a competitive team. The manager makes sure the groups work hard, and we're expecting a very tough game because there's no easy games in the Premier League, especially when you go to a place like Norwich City.
There's been some funny results in the Premier League this season. I think the message is expect the unexpected week in, week out.
Yeah, a lot of people have been saying about there's been funny results. I see it a different way. I think it's just been a very competitive league this season, and when I say that, I mean from top to bottom. I mean, in the past, I think everybody's a bit used to certain teams being at the top and certain teams being at the bottom, and the table just looks a bit different. So I think it's been a very competitive league, and I think it's great for football because we all know the Premier League is a very challenging league. So I'm expecting it to be like that till the end of the season.
For someone who's been in football as long as yourself, is it refreshing? Is it nice to see somebody like Leicester City top of the Premier League as we approach Christmas?
I wish I could say yeah. I'd prefer it to be us. I think for the neutrals, they'll probably look at it and they'll probably be enjoying it. But I think they've worked hard. They deserve to be where they are at the moment, but it's still got a long way to go. And as I said before, I think if you look at the league now, it's quite there. It's open and it's challenging. And the opportunity is there for the team that has the desire and wants to go there and try and see if they can create a bit of a break in the monography that has been taking place in the Premier League for a long while now.
One of the teams who can get a good result, then a bad one, a little bit of a consistency, is Norwich City, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what makes them such a dangerous team because, you know, on the day you know what they're capable of. They've got a strong squad. They've got a manager who shows a lot about what he's all about, how he gets the team to work. We played them in the Cup, which wasn't too long ago, and it was a very difficult game. So we're expecting a very, very strong challenge.
Snods, do you agree with Dennis Lawrence there? Any side in the Premier League that can put together a consistent run of results, preferably wins, will really be right up there and could stay there?
Without a doubt, because you look at it as Man City haven't been brilliant this season. Man United, for all the points they've picked up, they've not been brilliant this season. Arsenal have lost the odd games as well. So I think you're right. And Leicester, deservedly, I think, are on the top of the league. They're playing with enthusiasm. They're playing quick football. Vardy is absolutely on fire. So anybody can beat anybody in this league and finish anywhere.
Let's hope it's the Blues to put together that consistent run. Well, Gareth Barry recently described Romelu Lukaku, Gerard Deulofeu, John Stones and Ross Barkley as the Fab Four. And the young boys are certainly bringing as much joy to Goodison as the original lads did to the Cavern Club all those years ago. Deulofeu and Lukaku are striking up something of a Lennon and McCartney partnership. The young Spaniard has been telling us how he loves linking up with the big man to give opposition defenders a hard day's night.
He's a perfect striker because he's a big striker. When I put the cross, good head, and for me it's good. I tell Rom always, go to the first post, because when I put the cross in defense and the keeper in the middle, it's perfect for him. And always tell Rom, goes to the first post. If you go to the first post, you score a lot of goals.
And we look ahead to Norwich now at the weekend. A long trip down there to Norwich. Obviously looking forward to getting back out there and hopefully getting a win.
Yes. Yes, Norwich is difficult team. We play against Norwich again in the Capital One, and it's difficult team. Comes to Goodison and plays so good, but same like before. Everton is a team for Europe this year, and we need get the 3 points.
And it's a new ground for you. You've never played there before.
No, never, because 2 years ago, I think is the first or second game of the season, and unlucky no play. And I think I hope this week play in Norwich.
It's developing into a terrific partnership, isn't it? Jerry sets them up, Ron knocks them in.
Also, what I'm liking, his English is coming on really well, Dad. He's speaking well. He's enjoying himself at Everton. There's no question about it. But they have got something between him and Big Rom. The way he delivers balls into the box, the way he's played a couple of balls through, first time for him, for Rom to get on the end of things. So, yeah, it seems to be working. And he's certainly enjoying his football, and the fans are certainly enjoying the Rom and Jerry show.
The Rom and Jerry show. I wish I'd have used that one. The other night, Jerry did really well to put the ball across the middle for Rom to knock in, but because it came off Gareth Barry formally gets the assist. Now, that can't be right.
No, it can't be right. I just want to know who judges this, which panel or where it comes from, because Jerry did all the hard work, got to the, more or less to the byline, squared it across, and then from where we were sat, Dad, he just looked like a ball across the penalty box, and Rom's tapped it in. So that was Jerry's assist all day for me, to be quite honest.
Near on impossible to defend against, isn't it? If Jerry gets it right and Rom's through on goal.
Yeah, it is, because Jerry's quick. He's got a great habit of just knocking the ball to one side, and he's sharp over that 5 or 6 yards to get to the ball. And Rom's powerful and strong, and when he's in full flight, he's difficult to stop. So we've got some great kids at this club. We've got some exciting times ahead.
And plenty more goals to come as well, hopefully. Starting with Norwich on Saturday, that'd do. Well, there's no doubt that Romelu Lukaku is in excellent form just now. He simply looks like scoring goals every time he steps out onto the field. But you won't find the man himself getting too carried away. Big Rom's happy enough to be helping the team, and he hopes to do so again at the weekend against Norwich.
Yeah, I'm in a rich vein of form. I think at the moment things are going well for me, but also for the rest of the team. And I try to help my teammates out in the best way that I can, and scoring goals. And well, we are playing very good football at the moment as well, so we need to keep this going and improve and get better week after week.
Do you keep count at all of how many goals you have scored, or if you're coming up to a certain milestone?
No, not really. I just since a young age, I always was thinking forward about the next game, and so yeah, I'm happy to have reached that milestone. But now, yeah, that's it, and I want to move on and hope the team, make the team win by scoring lots of goals.
You're left-footed, but you get a good number of goals with your right foot, with your head as well.
Mm-hmm.
You pleased with that range? It's something that you work on all the time?
Yeah, I think, finishing-wise, I think I'm pretty two-footed. It doesn't matter for me when the ball drops, left or right, or with the head. I think I'm really complete in that aspect, and it's something that I worked really hard on at Anderlecht, in the academy. They really made me they made me like a really finishing product. Like every day I used to do finishing with left and the right. Most of the time it would be like only 1 month we will train only on my right foot, and then we will add a little bit of my left, but it was predominantly right foot. And then at a certain point when I turned 14, it just went natural. So finishing wise, I can finish with both feet. It's not any problem. And I think the rest as well. So benefits me. I don't think when the ball drops on my right foot, I will never look for my left foot because I know there is enough quality.
Snods, you could carry that jumper off that Ron was wearing there, couldn't you?
I'm going to carry that off in the 80s, Daz, no matter what. But I bet it's dearer than the suit you've got on, Daz, to be honest.
He's in great form, though, isn't he, the big guy?
Brilliant. You can see he just loves scoring goals. Any player loves to score a goal, but him in particular, he's absolutely on fire at the minute. He's scoring goals for fun. He looks like he's scoring goals every time he goes through. You're thinking, this is going to be a goal. So it's great to have a striker like that in your team that you can rely on, probably get 20 goals a season.
We're talking about the Fab Four before, the young players. Another one, Brendan Galloway, just yesterday, put pen to paper on a new deal. It's important to tie these boys down.
It is, and he's deserved that, because what an hard place it is to come and fill that Leighton Baines' boots, left-hand side, and he's done fantastically well. I'm not saying we haven't missed Leighton, because he is a quality player, but Brendan has come in, he's done a fantastic job, he's performed to the best of his ability, and he deserves the new contract that he's got.
Norwich City away. Away win?
Tough, but I'm expecting a away win. We're a good side, Everton, and Norwich will be difficult. They work hard, they play some decent football, and it's never an easy place to go. Good atmosphere, but I expect Everton, the confidence we're playing with, to go down there and hopefully bring 3 points back up to Merseyside.
Let's hope so. Norwich City versus Everton at the weekend. And that's just about it for another Everton show. It's a busy old time for football. Between the 12th of December and the 13th of January, we've got 8 fixtures in 3 different competitions. But that's what we want. And we'll bring you all the previews and then all the reaction right here on the Everton show. My thanks to Snods for his excellent input tonight, and to you for your company. We'll see you next week.